Welcome to Spectrum News at 12. I am Uyai Anyakan, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakoran. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari arrives in Madrid to meet with Spanish President. PDP presents certificate of return to Atiku today. Plus, US to send longer-range rockets to Ukraine in latest aid package. Details of the stories and more in a moment. First on the news today, President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived in Spain on a state visit at the invitation of the country's President Pedro Sánchez, the first by the Nigerian leader. His special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, had hinted in a statement that President Buhari would hold separates with President Sánchez and the head of state of the Spanish nation, King Felipe V. During the visit, Buhari's engagements with both leaders is expected to discuss issues of mutual interest to Nigeria and Spain, which would result in the signing of agreements and memoranda of understanding on a wide range of topics geared towards further enhancing the bilateral relations between the two nations. Ministers who accompanied him on the trip include Geoffrey Onyema, Foreign Affairs, Abubakar Malami, Justice, Adeniyi Adebayo, Industry, Trade and Investments, among others. The president is expected back in the country on Friday, June 3rd. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has disclosed his criteria for the ideal presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the 2023 elections. The president made the disclosure while meeting with APC governors in Abuja. In a statement signed by presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina, Buhari said the objective must be the victory of the party and the choice of candidate must be someone who would give the Nigerian masses a sense of victory and confidence even before the elections. Recall that the APC commenced the screening of its presidential candidates on Monday and is expected to hold a convention between June 6th and 8th where the candidate is to emerge. Away from that, federal government has commenced distribution of ATM cards to the beneficiaries of the Household Uplifting Program in Kwara State. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, announced this through the National Cash Transfer Program Coordinator, Halima Shehu. The head of Unit Kwara State Cash Transfer Unit, Dr. Amina Yahaya, who flagged off the distribution in Ilorin, explained that the exercise heralded the completion of the digitalization of the payment system, noting that there are 34,293 beneficiaries across the 16 local government areas of Kwara, with Ilorin West used as the pilot scheme. She warned them not to disclose their card details to anyone, either on phone or physically, to avoid being scammed. The federal government has said that it is collaborating with the World Health Organization, WHO, and the United States Center for Disease Control, NCDC, to see how Nigeria can access the global stockpile of monkeypox vaccination to arrest the outbreak of the disease. The government's move came just as the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency said that it has vaccinated over 30 million persons with the first dose. It said that the figure of the first dose vaccination represented 23.9% of the country's eligible population, while over 14 million persons have received their second dose. The executive director of NPHCDA, Dr. Faiz Al-Shoaib, who spoke to journalists at the flag-off of COVID-19 vaccinations at the community pharmacies in Abuja, said the federal government is presently emphasizing on strict observation of public health safety measures to limit the spread of monkeypox disease across the country, adding that the agency is working with the US NCDC to make sure that all of the strategies to limit its spread were put in place. In another development, Nigeria has reportedly deployed no fewer than 640 soldiers to different peacekeeping missions in other countries, despite the rising cases of insecurity across the country. Recall that on July 21st, 2021, the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, retired, said over 200 Nigerian soldiers were serving in the economic community for West Africa States Mission in the Gambia. 62 soldiers and officers were also sent to Mali on a peacekeeping mission on December 3, 2021, while no fewer than 173 troops were deployed for a peacekeeping mission to Guinea-Bissau on April 21st of 2022. Meanwhile, the security expert Ben Okezie, in an interview with journalists, has bemoaned government's deployment of security operatives to other countries while losing the battle against insecurity at home, saying those in peacekeeping missions should be recalled to fight insecurity in the country. In politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is planning to partner Nigeria's anti-graft agency to stop vote buying in the June 18 governorship election in Ekiti State. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu confirmed this in Ado-Ekiti during a meeting with traditional rulers ahead of the election in the state. Yakubu assured that the commission would not condone vote buying in the coming election in Ekiti, as it has been observed in some primaries conducted by some political parties in the country recently. Meanwhile, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has announced that it will present a certificate of return to the party's presidential flag bearer Abubakar Atiku today, June 1st, 2022. By noon at the PDP National Secretariat Abuja, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Olungaba, in a statement said all governors, governorship candidates, presidential aspirants, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the National Assembly, other candidates of the party, and all critical stakeholders are expected to grace the special ceremony. Recall that Atiku won the party's presidential ticket during a special national convention held in Abuja on May 28 through 29, 2022, after scoring 371 votes. Still in politics, the former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, has been screened by the All Progressives Congress APC committee screening presidential aspirants. Recall that the Federal High Court in Abuja granted Okorocha bail with a directive that he should remain in custody until bail conditions are met. Justice Inyako, while granting Okorocha bail, imposed a 500 million naira bail bond with one surety in a like sum who must be within the jurisdiction of the court. A court directed the Federal High Court Registry to verify the documents of property to be presented as bail bonds. He also ordered Okorocha, who is being prosecuted by the EFCC for allegedly stealing state funds while he was governor, to deposit his international passport with the court registry. However, the former governor was able to meet the bail conditions and make it to the venue of the screening. Speaking to journalists after the screening, Okorocha said he came directly from the EFCC's custody to the venue. He also agreed with the call for a consensus candidate, noting that the consensus can only be achieved by ensuring that all the aspirants are allowed to reach such agreement. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party is to conduct a fresh governorship primary in Bauchi State, following the withdrawal from the race of the candidates who was declared winner. The secretary to the state government, Ibrahim Kasim, who resigned his position to contest the governorship primary in the state, contested the primary election unopposed. Reports say the Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed had purchased the governorship form secretly and was also screened and cleared secretly as a plan B, should he not get the presidential ticket of the party. Mohammed, who got only 20 votes at the party presidential primary, which held last week, was said to have returned to the state to retrieve the ticket, but Kasim decided to resign as the candidate. Meanwhile, the returning officer of the PDP governorship electoral panel in the state, Hassan Grima, had said that Kasim was the sole aspirant in the race and scored a total of 655 votes out of 656 votes cast with one invalid. Away from that, the fresh ban imposed on operations of commercial motorcycles, popularly called Okada, in 6 local governments and 9 local council development areas of Lagos State by the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, takes effect today. Recall that Sanwo-Olu had on May 18, 2022, announced the ban at a meeting with the State Commissioner of Police, area commanders, and divisional police officers at the State House in Aluasa, effective from June 1st, 2022. The governor directed security operatives to enforce their proscription order across the councils: Etiosa, Ikeja, Surulere, Lagos Island, Lagos Mainland, and Apapa. Meanwhile, as the enforcement begins, the Lagos Ferry Services said it has deployed more boats and increased daily operational trips at terminals and jetties located within areas in the states where activities of commercial motorcyclists have been banned. The head public affairs, Lam Ferry Akim Odishina, made this known in a statement made available to newsmen, saying the terminal and jetties include the Badore Terminal, Badore Ipadoko, Ikorodu, 5 Cowries Terminal, Ikoyi CMS Victoria Island Terminal, Liverpool Terminal, Apapa, and Ilaje Bariga Terminal, Bariga. Other presidential aspirants and party faithful on unity towards successful party outcome 2023. The Akwa Ibom State Governor and one of the presidential aspirants in the just concluded primaries of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Udom Emmanuel, has appealed to other aspirants and party faithful to come together as a team and work for the success of the party to take the center stage come 2023. Governor Emmanuel, who stated this shortly after his arrival to a rousing welcome by millions of Akwa Ibom people, appreciated the people for their support to his ambition. According to him, there was need for the people to unite as all interests will be accommodated when the party succeeds in next year's general elections. On his performance in the last 7 years as the governor of the state, Government House correspondent reports that Emmanuel, who noted that he was extremely satisfied by his performance in all areas, expressed optimism that his government will end well and strong next year.
Nobody would say that's where you are. I think over the time, we're tired of being behind, supporting others. We also need to be supported by others too. That's the message. While I was vying to contest for the primaries, I made one thing clear, that I'm only making myself available if God wants to use me, our partner, to rescue and restore Nigeria. But the situation that we have right now needs somebody who is creative, who has the capacity, who has the exposure, who has the knowledge, who has the sincerity of purpose, and also who has the love for the people to actually get this done. We can't be challenged all the time about leadership in Nigeria when there are a whole lot of people. But I'm happy, PDP, I said so over and over again, all of us that went in for the primaries in PDP, all of us are capable to take Nigeria out of where we are right now. So that's why I'm happy. I can only make an appeal that all of us can come back as a team to actually work for the party, for the success of the party. Once the party takes the center stage, I'm sure each and every one of us will have a whole lot to contribute. The whole issue is not about the quest. It's not just about our selfish interests. It's just about the generations yet unborn. I think that's why we are coming out to tell Nigerians that we are ready to salvage the situation. Just take all the 36 states of this federation, compare with what is on ground. Then let's compare notes. You see, you must compare apple with apple. I mean, oranges with oranges. So let's just bring the 36 states in the past 7 years and then put on ground. Let's see what we've done. Economically, putting things on ground, the foundation of what will actually bring back the economic growth of these states. I mean, we have a lot to show. Mention one area that we can be found wanting. I think all round we've been excellent. Quite impressive. But trust me, we're ending well, we're ending strong. And we're ending with...
In Africa, as tensions rise between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, Rwanda's Foreign Affairs Minister Vincent Biruta has claimed the right to respond and to protect the security of his country, Rwanda. His comments come amid a recent resurgence of attacks from the M23 rebel group, which has strained relations between the neighbors. Biruta, who spoke at a press conference in Kigali, said if the attacks continue, Rwanda will have the right to respond and to protect the security of the country, to protect the security of its citizens. He also criticized the measures taken by the DRC government, which have included the suspension of flights by Rwanda's flag carrier, Rwandan Air, and the summon of Kigali's ambassador.
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Still in Africa, Human Rights Watch called on the International Criminal Court to investigate allegations of landmine use in 2019 by Russian paramilitaries fighting in Libya. According to reports, new evidence has emerged from Libyan demning groups linking mercenaries from Russia's Wagner group to the use of banned mines in Libya during an offensive by Libyan forces based in the east of the country, attempting to retake the capital Tripoli from rival militias. Recall that the Wagner group supported the offensive by the eastern-based forces led by Commander Khalifa Haftar, who was also backed at the time by the United Arab Emirates, Egypt and Russia. Haftar's offensives collapsed in the spring of 2020 when Turkey and Qatar stepped up their military support for their rivals in western Libya. On the foreign scene, US President Biden has announced that US will send Ukraine more advanced rocket systems to help it defend itself. The weapons, long requested by Ukraine, are to help it strike enemy forces more precisely from a longer distance. Until now, the US had refused the request out of fear the weapons could be used against targets in Russia. Meanwhile, the German government has promised to send an air defense system to Ukraine. Chancellor Olaf Scholz told journalists that the Iris-T system was the most modern Germany possessed and would enable Ukraine to defend an entire city against Russian air attacks, adding that he would provide tracking radar capable of detecting enemy artillery and multiple rocket launchers. On the foreign scene, the U.S. State Department has suggested that Washington is readying another aid package for Kyiv. This follows the U.S. Congress's approval of additional $40 billion in military and humanitarian assistance earlier this month. Still to come in the news. Dennis arrives New Jersey for Ecuador friendly. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. On our business news, sequel to its development finance initiative, the Central Bank of Nigeria has agreed to leave interest rates at 5% per annum for critical sectors and manufacturing industries until March 2023. The decision followed the resolution of the Monetary Policy Committee to increase benchmark interest rates to 13% from 11.5%. Rate increases of this nature often lead to increases in lending rates across the various sectors of the economy. The CBN said the 5% per annum interest rate is a form of subsidy for industry's players who originally ought to pay an interest rate of 9%, but such rates may rise as high as 20% per annum at commercial banks. Still on our business news, the Nigerian Exports Promotion Council, NEPC, is targeting the $2.7 trillion African market through the instrumentality of e-commerce. Speaking at the launch of Agogo Africa, supported by NEPC, an African Union in Abuja, the Chief Executive Officer Dr. Ezra Yasriksa said e-commerce has become a big industry, as Nigeria is ranked 35th largest market for e-commerce globally, recording a yearly growth of 42%. Speaking further, he said e-commerce was one of the fastest growing industries in the global economy, noting that the estimated yearly growth was put at 23% and the industry was projected to hit $27 trillion by the end of this decade. Reports say the NEPC is willing to render support to individuals and organizations like Agogo Africa that presented viable options that would enhance market access for Nigerian goods and services of various sectors. To Health Now, where the United States Embassy in Nigeria has said that the U.S. is not responsible for the recent outbreak of monkeypox in the country. The embassy said the U.S. government will continue to lend its support and work closely with the government of Nigeria in responding to the outbreak. An information specialist at the Public Affairs section of the Consulate General, Temitayo Famutimi, said this in a statement issued in reaction to claims that the U.S. government was using some laboratories under its control to spread monkeypox disease in Nigeria. The U.S. noted that the sponsors of such claims have also called on the World Health Organization to investigate these laboratories, adding that monkeypox is not a new disease, nor is it unique to Nigeria or this region, having first been diagnosed in 1970 in the DRC. Meanwhile, through collaborative interventions, U.S. government agencies is working in Nigeria to support both national and state laboratories with technical assistance and funding. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has said that smoking cigarettes with plastic filters do not make them safer. According to the WHO, notwithstanding the marketing efforts by the tobacco industry to push cigarette filters as healthy, there has been no evidence to support the claim. The global health body stated this in a statement released to commemorate the 2022 World No Tobacco Day, marked every 31st day of May yearly. The Global Health Agency urged policymakers to treat cigarette filters as what they are, single-use plastics, adding that policymakers should also consider banning them to protect people and the environment. WHO reiterated that products like cigarettes, smokeless tobacco, and e-cigarettes also add to the buildup of plastic pollution, noting that cigarette filters contain microplastics and make up the second highest form of plastic pollution worldwide. In sports, the number of players in the Super Eagles camp ahead of the friendly game against Ecuador has increased to 21, with the arrival of another striker in the squad. According to the updates from the Super Eagles camp in the United States, Watford striker Emmanuel Dennis is the latest arrival for the friendly match. Dennis missed the 2-1 loss against Mexico on Saturday as Nigerians witnessed Basiru's first game in charge of the Eagles as Desert, who scored his first Eagles career goal, led the front line alongside Terry Murphy in the loss to L3. Reports say Pizarro is hoping Dennis can bring more spark to the team's attack. Recall that the three-time African champions Nigeria are participating in these friendlies as part of their final preparation for the opening game in the qualifiers for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Meanwhile, Super Eagles coach Josie Pizarro has handed a late invitation to Valentine Ozoranfo for the month's 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The Eagles are due to take on the Leon Stars at the MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, on June 9 before flying to St. Pierre to take on Mauritius 4 days later. The 22-year-old is expected to arrive in Abuja later this week, as his inclusion in the team for the qualifiers further raises concerns over the availability of Ola Aina for the games due to an injury he sustained in training in Dallas, Texas. On our entertainment news, music icon Innocent Idibia, popularly known as Tubaba, has spoken out following rumors that his marriage with actress Annie Idibia is at the verge of breakdown. This comes after reports that Annie unfollowed her husband on Instagram, leading many to speculate on the status of the marriage. The African Queen singer, in reaction, posted a video via his Instagram story on Tuesday to debunk the rumors and asked Nigerians to leave his wife alone. Recall that the actress had cleared the air since the rumors broke out, saying glitch on Instagram had resulted in the unfollowing noticed by many. Still on entertainment, popular Nollywood actress Iniedo has opened up about her experience as a mother. The mother of one spoke in an interview with fellow actress Lillian Afebai on Tuesday. Edo noted that motherhood has taught her that she could actually love someone else more than herself. The Nollywood diva, who admitted to loving herself most, noted that having a baby has changed that stand for her. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 12. I am Uyai Anyekin. Thanks for watching and do enjoy the rest of your day.